Okay, good morning, Faithful Transportation. It is Thursday, October 21st, here for your weekly housekeeping, training, reminding video. As always, the mission of Faithful Transportation is that every student feels valued and has a safe run. And we get that done by our three core values: safety, professionalism, and connecting first. So I have a few housekeeping items to go over, and then we are going to have a great, great inspiring story from one of our drivers, Neil, today. First thing, just a few housekeeping items. Like I said, um, mandated reporting. So I got an email yesterday that I wanted to share with you that in 2020, the total number of reported suspected abuse cases decreased from 42,252 to 32,919. So in 2019, there were 42,000 reports, and in 2020, there were 32,000 reports. Um, and that is primarily due to the fact that mandated reporters, like you and I, teachers, social workers, nurses, did not have contact with students who may or may not be in situations of abuse. So I wanted to take this opportunity to remind you, because for some of you, the training has been a few years, that you are a mandated reporter, um, and that when you see something or you suspect something, please go ahead and report that. If you need help reporting that, come to me, come to Jen, and we can talk that through with you. But you are mandated reporters. So number one, it's your responsibility. Two, it is what you do when you care for your students. Is to be on the lookout for them, and to help protect them. So um, you are all mandated reporters. Two, kind of under the category of professionalism, two things that I want to remind you of. One is please don't start cutting corners. What I mean by that is, especially with the van pre check and the post checks, and also van cleanliness. Make sure that you are doing those every single day. You don't have to wash the van every day, but you have to do your pre check and post check after every run. And we do want you to clean the outside of your van each week and make sure that your van is cleaned on the interior every day. Um, I've been noticing that some of those standards are decreasing, so I want to remind you to go ahead and do those. Secondly, with regards to professionalism, we are required to be wearing masks while students are in the vehicle. I know everybody has different feelings about that, but it is a rule from not only the Department of Education, but the Department of Transportation is requiring that. So please keep your masks on while students are in the vehicles. When they're not in the vehicles, you do not have to have them on, but it is good practice to model that, because most of our students are masked all day as well. Last two things. Number one, which I think by now is number four, but number one of the last two things is call offs. This week there have been a lot of call offs for various reasons, that has made us very much short staffed by the skin of our teeth, which is why you've probably seen me and Jen in the dispatch role, because we've had a lot of call offs. Sometimes it just happens, but please make every effort to be here. And also tomorrow, and then each day next week, we have at least 3 a.m.s and 3 p.m. shifts open. So if you have any extra availability, please let Hector or Red, Jen, who's the new dispatcher, let them know if you have any extra availability, because we do have shifts for you. We're hoping that some of our drivers who are not feeling well will be back in the next few days and we won't be as short staffed. But for the next period of time, we definitely are short staffed. So any of your help, just by showing up and being reliable, and also taking any extra shifts if you have the ability is incredibly appreciated over the next week or so. Okay. I have Neil, who is one of our fantastic drivers, is going to tell you a few of the ways that he's connecting with one of his students.
Hello, fellow drivers. How are you today? Well, I'll tell you a story about a little boy that I got. And this little boy, he's 10 years old, and he's very intelligent. How I got to know how intelligent he is, I started asking him questions as I'm driving. And he sat there and he was sitting there telling me about his Santa Claus, if he believed in Santa Claus. He stopped believing in Santa Claus when he was 3 years old. He told his father, he said, how could Santa Claus come down, a big man come down a little pipe? He said, it's magic. He said, well, there's no such thing as magic. He said, well, I leave the door open. He said, nobody leaves the door open. He says, in this day and age, he says, for anybody to come in our house. So here's a boy that doesn't believe in Santa Claus. So as my days have been going by of me learning this little boy, we talk about all different things. I ask him what kind of food he likes. This boy eats nothing but vegetables and chicken. No junk food, no candy, no sweets. The sweetest thing he'll eat is blueberry pie, and that's once in a blue moon. His favorite holiday is Thanksgiving because he loves eating food, but he eats only certain types of food. The thing of it is with this little boy is he's very intelligent. And I was told his name, he only wants to be called one name. Well, I gave him a different name. I gave him a name as the professor. Now, every day he goes to school, that's what he tells everybody. Tells that it's his name, it's professor. That's all he wants anybody to call him, professor. His mother, his father, everybody. So anytime he gets out of the van, I sit there and tell the teacher's aide, say hello to the professor. Otherwise, he'll get out of the van. He gets out of the van, they say, hello, professor. But once he gets in school, that's the end of it. They don't call him professor anymore. Well, this little boy, I mean, I really feel bad for him because now, since he knows how intelligent he is, and I know how intelligent he is, they're not really sitting there giving him to do in school. One day I pull up to the school, and this other lady opens up the door. And I said to the lady, I says, here, the professor is getting out of the van. She said, oh, hi, professor, how are you? He goes, in school. The next day he gets in the van, he says to me, he goes, do you know who that lady was? He said that you turned around and said, called me the professor. I said, who? She said, that was the principal of the school. I said, well, she knows you're the professor, and I think you're smart. He said, he goes, well, she knows I'm intelligent, but sometimes they don't want to tell me how intelligent I am. I said, well, this is what you do. Tell your mother to take you over to the IRS building and get tax return forms. Sit there and do the tax return forms. I said, memorize them. Sit there and do them every day. I says, and then maybe at the end of the school year, you could ask the teachers if they'll sit there, if you want to sit there and do their tax returns. Being that you're such a mathematical genius, that you could sit there and multiply 4 numbers by 3 numbers by hand with a little trick that you know, quicker than I could on a calculator, that's pretty good. That's my story.
That was great. Hey, thanks, Neil. That was a great story. And I do want to add, I love the different ways that Neil's connecting with this student. I also want to add that this student historically can be really difficult to transport. So while it sounds like Neil is just having a conversation with the student, he's actually engaging and making look easy what has been really difficult with many incident reports in the past. So once again, great job, Neil, connecting first and showing us how it can be done. Have a great week, everybody, and I will talk to you next week.
Seriously?